Morning light came through the small bedroom window, soft and warm, and Amara was already awake. She was 12 and liked to plan everything. Her backpack was on the chair, zippers closed, snack pouch ready. She checked the tickets again on her phone and then checked the paper copies in the side pocket. Zuri, who was 10, sat on the edge of the bed tying and retying her shoelaces, trying to make both loops match. They were going to see Grandma for summer break, and the thought felt like sunshine inside their chests. Their Aunt Nia knocked on the door and smiled when she saw them both ready early. "Airport time," she said in a bright, steady voice. They left the apartment with a light step. The hallway smelled like fresh coffee from a neighbor's door. The elevator ride felt longer than usual, even though it took only a minute. Outside, the city buses sang and cars whispered by. The rideshare driver waved and helped with their small carry-on bags. Amara watched the map on the driver's dashboard. Zuri watched the clouds in the sky. Aunt Nia sat between them and held both girls' hands for a moment. "You've got everything?" she asked. "Tickets, IDs, Grandma's gift?" Amara nodded and showed the small wrapped box in her bag. "Her favorite tea," she said. The airport was busy but not loud, the kind of hum that feels like a song you know. Rolling suitcases clicked on tile floors. A little boy tugged his mom's sleeve near the big flight board. "Look, moving letters," he said. Amara and Zuri smiled. Aunt Nia led them through the door where security lines curved like ribbons. They had checked in online, so there was no long counter line for them. They had only carry-on bags, and each bag had a luggage tag with their names. Amara kept her documents in a clear pouch. Zuri kept hers in a small blue wallet with a cartoon puppy on the front. Security was careful, but kind. The agent asked them to take off their small jackets and put them in the tray. Zuri looked at her bracelet and asked if she should take it off. "It's okay," the agent said with a small grin. Amara walked through the scanner with calm steps, like counting. 1, 2, 3. Everything beeped normally. They put their jackets back on and moved forward. They had time to spare, so they stopped at a water fountain. "Sip, don't chug," Aunt Nia joked. Then they found their gate. The gate area was bright and open. A big window looked out onto the runway where planes were parked like giant birds resting. People filled the seats, a student with a laptop, a couple sharing a sandwich, an older man reading a paperback novel with a faded cover. The screen over their gate showed their flight number and the word, "On time." Amara took a picture of Zuri with the plane behind her. "Send it to Grandma," Zuri said. "Make sure she sees my new braids." Amara sent the photo with a heart emoji and the words, "On our way." Soon, a voice came over the speaker. "Good morning, passengers. We will start boarding in about 20 minutes. Aunt Nia stood up to stretch. She checked the travel letter in her purse. It was notarized and neat, with dates and signatures, just in case anyone asked. She had the girls' school IDs and a copy of their birth certificates. She kept her tone light. "We're early and prepared," she said. "We'll be on the plane, and then you'll be with Grandma before dinner, maybe even lunch." Zuri hummed a little song and swung her legs. Amara watched the boarding door, thinking about, the seat map. She liked to guess who would sit near the window. When boarding was called for families with small children and those who needed extra time, they waited. They were not in that group. Then Zone 1 was called. Then Zone 2. Their tickets said Zone 3. They joined the line when Zone 3 lit up on the screen. Amara held the tickets and IDs, ready to present them with a friendly smile. The gate agent, a woman with a tidy bun and a name badge that read D. Carver, scanned the first ticket. The scanner chirped. She looked at the screen longer than Amara expected. She did not hand the ticket back. She looked at the second ticket, then at the first again. "Can I see your IDs?" the agent asked. Her voice was even. Amara handed over the school IDs. Aunt Nia added the notarized letter with a quiet, confident motion. "They're traveling with me," she said. "Here's everything." The agent studied the papers. She looked at the girls. She looked back at the screen. The line behind them shuffled forward and then stopped. Zuri felt the line watching, so she gave a tiny smile to Amara. Amara squeezed her hand once, steady and calm. "What else do you need?" Aunt Nia asked in a polite tone. "That should be all." She made her words light as if she were asking for directions to a bakery. The agent tapped on her keyboard. The tapping sounded like rain on a roof. "I need to confirm something in the system," the agent said. She did not say what. She did not look at the letter again. The scanner beeped once more. A long sound, this time, and the agent's mouth pressed into a flat line that was not angry, but not warm either. A supervisor arrived. He had a gray tie and a neat clipboard. The agent spoke to him in a low voice. They both looked at the screen. The supervisor glanced at the girls and nodded. He spoke to Aunt Nia with the same even tone. "We need additional verification," he said. He did not point to a line on the letter. He did not name a rule. "Additional verification?" Aunt Nia repeated softly, still calm. "What is missing? I can show you what you need." The supervisor looked at the line behind them. People were waiting with their tickets in hand. "Please step aside while we check something," the agent said. She motioned toward a small space near the window. Her words were orderly, but they felt like a cool wind on a warm day, a change you do not expect. Aunt Nia's face stayed relaxed. "Girls, let's stand over here," she said, as if it was part of the normal plan. They moved to the side and people continued to scan their passes and walk down the jet bridge. They stood by the window. A service truck rolled past on the tarmac. A baggage handler waved to someone near a luggage cart. Zuri leaned closer to the glass and breathed out, making a small cloud on the window, then wiped it away with her sleeve. "We're okay," Aunt Nia said. "We have our papers. Sometimes people need a minute." Amara nodded. She believed. Her aunt. Still, she felt a small flutter in her chest, like a bird trapped behind a curtain. She took a slow breath and counted to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A few minutes passed, then a few more. The agent and the supervisor kept looking at the screen and typing. Occasionally, they spoke to each other in quick, quiet words. Then the agent called another passenger forward and scanned their ticket. The person went through without a pause. Zuri looked at the clock above the gate. "Boarding ends 10 minutes before takeoff, right?" she asked. "Usually," Amara said. Her voice was steady, but her eyes were following the pattern on the carpet. Small diamonds in 2 shades of blue. She liked patterns. They made sense and did not change suddenly. A woman in line holding a baby gave them a kind look. "Are you two okay?" she asked softly. "We're fine, thank you," Aunt Nia said with a warm smile. "Just waiting for them to finish a check." The woman nodded. "You look very ready for a trip," she said to Zuri. "I like your braids." Zuri smiled and touched the end of one braid gently. That small kindness felt like a warm cup of cocoa on a chilly day. The line moved again. The speaker voice called Zone 4. A man with a baseball cap, who had been watching quietly, spoke to the supervisor as he passed. "These girls have been waiting," he said in a calm, respectful tone. "They have their documents. Maybe you can help them go through?" The supervisor said, "We're working on it, sir." His voice did not rise or fall. It just stayed, straight, like the edge of a ruler. He walked back to the computer. The man in the cap gave the girls a small nod and moved down the jet bridge. Amara felt grateful, even for words that simple. Aunt Nia pulled the travel letter again and looked it over, even though she had looked before. Names right, dates right, signature clear, notary stamp in the corner. She tucked it back into her purse and kept her posture relaxed. "Do you want water?" she asked. "A gummy bear?" Zuri shook her head. Not hungry, she said, though she was a little hungry. Amara said, I'm okay. She thought of Grandma's kitchen, full of warm air and the smells of cinnamon, toast and orange peels. She pictured Grandma's hands, soft and strong, as they pressed dough flat for pie crust. The picture helped her breathe. The gate agent finally looked up and called to them. Ma'am, she said to Aunt Nia. They came, back to the counter. The agent rested her hand on the keyboard. We still need additional verification, she repeated. We're not seeing what we need here. What is it that you need? Aunt Nia asked. Her tone stayed kind, careful, and clear. If you tell me, I can give it to you. The agent glanced at the supervisor. He looked at the screen. It's a manual note in the system, he said. We need to confirm it. A manual note? Aunt Nia asked. What does it say? The supervisor did not answer that part. We just need to confirm, he said. The boarding screen ticked down. Boarding ends in 18 minutes. The numbers were clear and simple. Amara watched them and set a quiet timer in her mind. Zuri shifted her weight from one foot to the other and stared at the small silver wings pinned to the agent's jacket. Do those mean you fly the plane? She asked in a small voice. The agent's face softened for a second. No, honey, she said gently. That's the crew. She caught herself, straightened, and turned back to the screen. The softness faded. The line moved. The speaker voice thanked passengers for their patience. The minutes after that felt slow and bright, like time was walking through thick light. The boarding screen kept counting down, and every time the number changed, Amara felt it like a tiny tap on her shoulder. The agent and the supervisor spoke softly, faces close to the glow of the monitor. Aunt Nia kept her voice kind and steady, but Amara noticed the way her aunt's fingers touched the zipper of her purse again and again, as if checking that everything was still there. Zuri leaned her head on her aunt's arm and watched the jet bridge door open and close, like a quiet metal heartbeat. A second agent came to the counter, a young man with a careful smile and a badge that read R. Gomez. He glanced at the screen, then at the girls. Ma'am, he said to Aunt Nia, we're checking a manual note in the booking. It won't be long. His tone tried to be warm, but his eyes moved quickly, like someone juggling too many small tasks. Thank you, Aunt Nia said. Can you tell me which policy this is? I brought the notarized letter, school IDs, the confirmation email, everything. Gomez looked to the supervisor. The supervisor gave a small nod that was not a yes and not a no. We're waiting on a call back, Gomez said. From who? Asked Amara, gentle but precise. From our operations team, he said. They can confirm the note. He tapped the keyboard and then picked up a short black phone near the A computer. Still holding, he murmured to no one in particular. The phone line played a soft tune, the same 4 notes over and over, like a music box stuck in a loop. Zuri mouthed the tune and tried to turn it into a different song in her mind. An older couple sat near them. The woman wore a blue cardigan and had a big, kind face. She whispered to her partner, then turned to the girls. Would you like to sit? She asked. We're getting on last anyway. That's very sweet, thank you, Aunt Nia said. She helped Zuri sit and set the small carry-on bags at their feet. Amara stayed standing beside her aunt, eyes circled back to the screen. The bright numbers changed again. Boarding ends in 14 minutes. A new voice came over the speaker, calm and clear. Final boarding for Flight 287 to Fairfield. Please proceed to Gate 24. People hurried a little more. The gate agent scanned, beep, scanned, beep. One passenger with a guitar case jogged up, breathless, and laughed with relief when the scanner chirped. A little girl in a pink jacket waved at Zuri before disappearing down the jet bridge. Zuri waved back, soft and slow. The supervisor stepped toward them. "Ma'am, we can rebook you if needed," he said, tone level. "There is a later flight, with seats." "We need this flight," Aunt Nia replied, still polite, like soft cloth over a firm shape. "Grandma has an appointment this afternoon, and the girls promised her they would be there. We have all documents. If there is a rule, please show it." The supervisor's fingers curled a little around his clipboard. He did not open it. "We need the confirmation on the note," he repeated. "We are waiting for a call." "What does the note say?" Amara asked. Not sharp, not loud, just careful. The supervisor glanced at her, then back to the screen. "It flags travel with a guardian," he said. "We confirm, then we clear." "The notarized letter is the confirmation," Aunt Nia said. "It has the dates, the parents' consent, and the stamp. You can call their father if you like." She lifted her phone, already pulling up the contact. "We're almost clear," the supervisor said. "Just a moment." His words felt like a chair that looked sturdy, but wobbled if you sat on it. A man in a baseball cap from earlier passed again, boarding now. He gave a small thumbs up as if to say, "I see you. Keep going." The woman with the baby smiled once more. A student with a laptop frowned at the scene, then softened when Zuri met her eyes. Little threads of kindness crossed the space, like thin lines of light. The scanner beeped in a low tone this time, as the agent tried the girl's passes again. The screen showed a small red symbol that disappeared too fast to read. The agent's mouth tightened. "Still needs verification," she said. She picked up the phone, put it down, picked it up again. Gomez spoke into his radio in short, clear words. "Gate 24 needs callback on manual note. Minor travel with guardian notarized letter present. Please advise." The radio hissed softly and then quieted. A younger staff member rolled over a small cart with bright plastic tags that said unaccompanied minor. She set them on the counter. "We can tag them and escort them," she offered. "They are not unaccompanied," Aunt Nia said, still gentle. "I am their aunt, and I have the letter with their parents' consent." The staffer looked at the tags, then at the supervisor, uncertain. "Right," she said, cheeks pinking. She wheeled the cart away. Amara felt a bubble of want in her chest, the want to be seen as ready, the want to be helped by clear steps. She thought of Grandma's advice. Ask for the rule. Help the helper. "Can you print the rule page and highlight what you need?" she asked the agent. "I can give it to you now." The agent's eyes flicked to the printer and back. "I don't have a page to print," she said. "It's internal." The word sat on the counter like a small stone. Nothing to hold. Nothing to read. "Let's call your dad," Aunt Nia said quietly, not because she could not handle it, but because she wanted him to know. She dialed. The line rang once, twice, then he picked up. "Hey," Daniel said, voice warm and steady. "You through the gate?" "We're at the gate," she answered. "They're asking for extra verification. We have everything. They're saying there's a manual note." She kept her words even. "Where are you?" "Just leaving a meeting," he said. "Close by." "Which gate?" 24, she said. "Okay," he said. "I'm coming." "Drive safe," she said. He laughed softly. "I'm walking," he answered. "Even better," she said. She did not add more. She did not tell the agent who he was. She did not pull out a title like a badge. She chose stillness. Like a tree holding steady in a breeze, Amara watched Aunt Nia end the call. "He's close," she whispered to Zuri. Zuri's eyes brightened. "He'll bring Grandma's joke book," she said, as if their father always carried it, which he did not, but the idea made her smile. "Maybe," Amara said, "or maybe just his very calm voice." A man with a camera phone had begun to record from a few rows away. His lens followed the girls. Aunt Nia noticed and walked to him with a friendly, low voice. "Sir, please don't film the children," she said. "You can film me if you like, but please protect their privacy." The man blinked and lowered the phone. "You're right," he said quietly. "I'm sorry." He tucked the phone into his pocket. "I just wanted to help." "Thank you," she said, and her smile was real. A voice on Gomez's radio finally crackled back. He leaned in to hear. "Say again?" he asked. "Copy that." He looked at the supervisor. "Ops says they're reviewing. Need 2 more. Minutes." The supervisor nodded, then looked at the boarding door, then at the clock. "Make it fast," he said, though the person on the other end could not hear his eyes. The speaker announced, "This is the final boarding call for Flight 287 to Fairfield. The gate will close in 8 minutes. The words felt big and plain, like a sign painted on a wall. The line had thinned to only a few stragglers, a man looking for his headphones, a teen with a hoodie, a woman checking a long text message twice before she walked forward. The agent scanned them. Beep, beep, beep. The jet bridge door opened and closed. The agent glanced at the girls, then back to the screen. "Ma'am," the supervisor said, "if we can't confirm in time, we'll put you on the next flight and give meal vouchers." "We appreciate the offer," Aunt Nia answered, not sarcastic, just clear. "Please confirm now. There is nothing missing." She slid the notarized letter across the counter again with hands that did not shake. The paper looked almost like a small, bright sail on a gray sea of steps and rules. Amara's eyes followed the agent's finger to the notary stamp. The stamp was crisp and beautiful. Circle, date, number, name. In her mind, Amara traced it, like a drawing lesson. Zuri pressed her palms together and whispered something only the air could hear. Maybe a wish, maybe a simple count from 1 to 10. Gomez's phone line went silent, and then a new person came on, voice lower, with authority. He switched to speaker so the supervisor could hear. "Gate 24, the voice said. "Yes," Gomez answered. "Minor travel with guardian notarized consent present." The voice replied, "We need to verify the consent matches the record on file." "How do we do that?" the supervisor asked. "I can send the letter image," Gomez said quickly. "No," the voice replied. "We need a live check with the parent on record." "We can call him now," Aunt Nia said gently. "I have his number." "We must call the number in the record," said the voice. "Please hold." The line clicked. The soft music returned. The same loop, the same small notes. "The number in the record?" Amara thought. "What if it's the old one?" She did not say it out loud. She remembered last winter when her father changed his number, a simple move to make work calls easier. He had updated most accounts right away, but what if not all? She felt the thought like a small, quick bird brushing her shoulder. Aunt Nia must have thought it too, because her hand paused on her purse, then settled. Again. "He is on his way," she said softly to the girls. "Either way, he will be here." The supervisor checked the clock. 6 minutes, he said to the air, not to a person. He looked at the door to the jet bridge the way a person looks at a bus pulling away, measuring distance and time with his face. The agent's eyes softened for a moment, as if she wished the same thing the guyer. The quick footsteps drew closer, steady and sure, and a tall man stepped into view with a small travel backpack on one shoulder. His tie was loosened, as if he had left a meeting in a hurry, but his face was calm, like someone who knew how to move through problems without knocking anything over. He saw the girls first. "Hey, you two," he said, voice warm and light, the way sunshine feels when it finally reaches a cool porch. Amara's shoulders dropped in relief she did not know she was holding. Zuri sat up straight. "Dad," they said together. The space around them seemed to hush, not by rule, but by attention. He turned toward the counter and spoke with quiet care. "They're my daughters." The gate agent's hands paused on the keyboard. The supervisor looked up from his clipboard. For a second, everyone held still, as if the air wanted to listen too. The man took out his wallet and a slim card. Case. "Nia," he said to their aunt, nodding with gentle thanks. To the staff, he added, "I'm Daniel Lewis." He held out his ID. He did not raise his voice. He did not push the card forward like a shield. He simply offered it, the way you offer a key to someone you trust to open the right door. The supervisor took a careful breath. His eyes moved from the card to Daniel's face and back. The agent glanced at the girls and then at the photo on the phone that Daniel lifted next. "Family photos," Daniel said softly. In the picture, Amara wore last year's school uniform and held a science fair ribbon. In another, Zuri grinned with missing front teeth, cheeks bright with cake icing. "Sir," the supervisor said, tone respectful but still in work mode, "there is a manual note on the booking. We're trying to confirm." Daniel nodded once. "I understand," he said, and the words sounded like they belonged in the room. "Thank you for taking this seriously. Please show me exactly what the note says and which policy you are following. We'll clear it correctly." He placed his phone on the counter screen up as if to say, "I have nothing to hide." He stepped half a pace to the side so he could see the monitor without leaning over anyone. The agent adjusted the display so the text was readable. Amara watched her father's eyes move. They did not race. They read. They considered. "It flags travel with a guardian," the supervisor said. "We usually confirm by phone with the parent number in the record." Daniel's gaze stayed on the screen. "And you called?" "We did," the agent said. "No answer. Voicemail." Daniel nodded again, not upset, only tracking the steps. "He changed his number last winter," Aunt Nia added quietly. "We have the notarized letter, the school IDs, the booking confirmation, everything." Daniel looked at the letter, then back to the screen. "Good," he said. "That letter is valid. It meets our policy. What's missing is an updated contact route for a live check." He tilted his head, thinking. "I'm present and I'm a parent on the record. Please add a note that the parent verified in person with photo ID and matching details." The supervisor hesitated, not because he disagreed, but because the clock and the door were in his mind like two hands on his shoulders. "We can do that with an operations sign-off," he said. Daniel's eyes were kind. "Then let's get it," he answered. "I'll stay right here." He turned slightly, scanning the area. A man a few rows back had lifted a phone again, almost by habit. Daniel offered a gentle smile. "Sir," he said, "thank you for caring. Please don't record the children." The man lowered the phone at once. "You're right," he said. "My apologies." The small exchange slipped away like a cup placed softly on a table. The agent tapped for a live call. Gomez angled the speaker so all could hear. A clean, careful voice answered from operations. "Ops here." The supervisor gave a short summary. "Two minors with their aunt. Notarized consent present. Manual note requires live parent verification. Parent is present at gate with ID." Daniel added his tone to the line, steady and exact. "This is Daniel Lewis. I'm the parent. I can confirm full details now. I'm also prepared to show employee credentials for internal verification, but I'm speaking as a father first." There was a small pause on the other end, the kind that says, "I'm aligning my steps with yours." "Understood," Ops said. "Please confirm the children's full names and dates of birth." Daniel did not rush. He said each name clearly, each date carefully, as if he were placing small, important stones into a quiet stream. He gave their home address, the last 4 digits of the booking card, and the 2 emergency contacts on file. He matched the confirmation number from the email on Aunt Nia's phone to the one on the screen. He pointed to the notary stamp and read the number that circled the seal. "Thank you," Ops said. Their voice warmed. "We can clear the manual note with a line. Parent verified in person at gate with photo ID, cross-checked against reservation, and notarized consent. Please add employee ID for internal record. Daniel shared it lightly, not as a hammer, not as a door, just as a detail to close a loop. Logged, Ops said. Stand by. While Ops made the update, Daniel turned back to his daughters. How are you feeling? He asked. Zuri's answer was honest. A little twisty inside, she said, pressing her hands to her middle. But okay. He smiled with his eyes and reached into his small backpack. I brought something by mistake yesterday, he said. He pulled out a small rubber band ball, bright layers of bands tied into a perfect sphere. It fell into my bag. It's my meeting toy. Helps me think. Zuri rolled it between her palms. It helps me too, she said, a tiny laugh moving into her voice. Amara leaned her shoulder into his arm, just enough to share a piece of steadiness. The pilot stepped to the counter again, polite and precise. We're at the edge, he said to the supervisor. How long? The supervisor lifted his palm in a small, hopeful pause. Ops is clearing the note now. Daniel turned to the pilot. Captain, thank you for your patience, he said. If you need 1 minute, please take it. We won't ask for more than we need. The pilot nodded once. 1 minute I can give, he said. His eyes fell to the girls and softened by a degree. We'll look after them. Ops came back. On the line. Gate 24, the note is cleared. Please rescan. The agent's hands moved, careful and ready. The first boarding pass slid under the scanner. For a breath, the entire gate seemed to hold itself in the air. The machine chirped a bright, clean sound, the kind you get when a lock opens on the first try. A small green light glowed. The second pass followed. Chirp. Green. Zuri breathed out a soft, "Oh," the kind children say when they see a tiny miracle like a ladybug landing in the right place at the right time. Amara smiled without showing teeth, the way she did when a math proof ended perfectly. Thank you, Daniel said to the team, not general and not flat, but directly to the agent, to Gomez, to the supervisor. You followed the process. Now let's make the process clearer. He did not linger on that sentence. He moved the moment forward. Girls, he said, turning back, you're good to go. He glanced at Aunt Nia. You too, sis. He tapped the letter with one finger. Keep that handy, just in case someone asks again on the other side of the bridge. The agent's face, which had been the careful face of someone doing a job under a clock, opened a little like a window letting in more air. I'm sorry for the delay, she said. It wasn't a speech. It was a simple sentence, true and clean, standing where it needed to stand. Thank you for working it through, Aunt Nia replied, and meant it. Her tone wrapped around the agent like a soft scarf. The supervisor added, We'll review the wording on that note type. He looked at Daniel, then at the girls. Safe. Flight. People at the gate who had been quietly rooting for the girls did small, gentle things. The older woman in the blue cardigan gave a thumbs up near her lap. The student with the laptop closed the lid and smiled. The man with the baseball cap tugged his brim in a little salute, a way of saying, I see you, good job, carry on. None of it was loud. It was a layer of kindness, thin and real, spread across the moment like honey. Daniel bent slightly so his face was level with his daughter's. Listen, he said softly. You handled this beautifully. You stayed calm. You were respectful. You asked for the rule. That is strength. He looked at Amara. Nice question at the counter. He looked at Zuri. Nice patience. Zuri held up the rubber band ball. Nice ball, she said, and they all smiled. He glanced at the clock. The minute of grace was there, and the pilot was keeping it, but the minute would not last forever. Go make Grandma's day, he said. Text me when you land. Amara lifted her boarding pass like a tiny flag of permission. Zuri stood, smoothing her shirt with small hands. Aunt Nia gathered the bags and tucked the notarized letter back in her purse. The agent stepped aside and opened her palm toward the jet bridge door. "You may board now," she said. The words were simple and sweet, like water after a long walk. The door waited with its quiet hinge, the bridge waited with its soft curve, the plane waited with its steady heart. Before they took the first step, Daniel turned to the staff one more time. "When I come back from the gate," he said gently, "I'd like to look at the wording on that internal note with you. We can make it plain and fair so this doesn't happen again." It wasn't a threat. It was an invitation to make something better. The supervisor nodded, relief easing into appreciation. "I'd welcome that," he said. Gomez lifted his thumb slightly from the radio, as if it too agreed. Daniel touched Amara's shoulder and Zuri's braid with the lightest of father touches, the kind that says, the jet bridge felt cool and a little echoey as they walked, like a tunnel that knew a good secret and was ready to share it. At the door of the plane, a flight attendant with kind eyes and neat braids greeted them. "Welcome, ladies," she said warmly. "We saved space in the overhead for your bags." Her badge said, Maurice. She bent a little to Zuri's height. "I like your braids," she added softly, and Zuri's smile came back as if someone had turned up the light. Amara thanked her and lifted their carry-ons into the open bin. Aunt Nia tucked the notarized letter in her purse one more time, more out of habit than need now. The aisle was a narrow river of blue carpet. People shifted in their seats to let them pass. A teenager lifted his backpack from the aisle with a quick nod. An older man held onto his paperback and smiled with his eyes. The seat numbers rose like small steps, 9, 10, 11. Their row was 12. By the window, a small boy in a dinosaur hoodie sat next to his father, who was fastening a seatbelt with calm hands. The boy stared at the girls' boarding passes like they were maps. "We're going to see Grandma," Zuri said softly, not to announce it, just to tell the air. The boy's father smiled. "Best reason to fly," he said. They settled in. Amara took the window so she could see the wing and the world. Zuri took the middle and pressed the rubber band ball into her palm like a tiny promise. Aunt Nia sat on the aisle, shoulders lowering as the moment finally loosened. Flight attendant Reese stopped by with a gentle lean. "If you need anything, press this call button," she said, pointing to the small light above. "I'll check on you after takeoff." She looked at Aunt Nia and added, "You did everything right. You stayed ready. Good job." The words were quiet and kind, the sort of words that become a small bridge in a person's memory. Up front, the captain made a short announcement. His voice was calm and friendly. "Good morning, folks. Thanks for your patience as we completed some final checks. We'll be pushing back in just a moment and should have a smooth flight to Fairfield. Sit back, relax, and we'll get you there." He did not speak about the girls or the delay. He just gave the plane a steady heart. The door closed with a firm click. The plane pushed back. Zuri watched the ground crew wave orange sticks like they were drawing safe lines in the air. Amara watched the wing flex, a small and beautiful bend that meant strength. As the engines rose from a hum to a full, round sound, Amara texted their father quickly, "On board, thank you, love you." She added a heart for him and a cookie emoji for Grandma. She sent one to Grandma, too. "We're in our seats. See you soon." Back at the gate, Daniel stayed with the team as the plane rolled away. He didn't hover. He didn't rush. He stood like a person who knew that the best time to build a better road is while the memory of the bump is still clear. The supervisor exhaled and set the clipboard down. "Thank you for your patience," he said. We followed the steps we thought were right." "You took care," Daniel replied. "I respect that." Now let's make the steps clearer so care is easy and fast. They moved a few feet from the counter to a small side table near the window. Gomez brought the laminated guideline card. The agent, D. Carver, came too, smoothing the edge of her name badge with her thumb. She looked a little tired but open. Daniel spoke in plain words. "There are 3 gaps," he said, tapping lightly on the table the way a teacher taps a friendly chalkboard. 1. The manual note is vague. 2. The fallback phone number was old. 3. The system didn't offer you a clean verify in-person path. He paused. "All of that is fixable." Carver nodded. "The note says, 'Confirm with parent on file,'" she said. "It doesn't say what to do if the call doesn't answer." Gomez added, "We can radio ops, but the screen doesn't. Show a button for parent present." We did it by asking. The supervisor listened, not defensive. "And we didn't show the aunt a rule page," he said. "We only said policy." That didn't feel good. Daniel's tone stayed gentle. "You care about getting it right. Let's help you do that with less guessing." He pulled out his phone and opened a notes app. "I'm sending a message to operations and training right now. Can I write down your ideas?" They nodded. Carver offered the first. "If a parent is present at the gate with a photo ID that matches the reservation and a legal consent letter is in hand, we should be able to verify right there." "Great," Daniel said, typing. "Second," Gomez said, "the system should flag old contact numbers and suggest an update path, even a little banner. Last updated more than 6 months ago. Attempt live verification at gate if present." The supervisor added, "And a time box for calls. If we don't reach a parent in 2 minutes, we escalate to verify in person without needing 5 extra approvals, especially if we have all documents." Daniel nodded, typing each point. "Good, and we'll print a simple family travel checklist for the gate and share it with customers online. Clear, short, friendly." He hit send on a short email to the head of operations, the training team, and product tools. He wrote it like he spoke, plain and focused. Subject: Clarify family travel verification, today. In the body, he listed the gaps and the fixes they had just named. He ended with, "This is not about blame. It's about clarity, dignity, and speed. Please confirm pilots, gate, and ops alignment by end of day. I'll swing by the training room at 3 p.m. He looked up. "I'm going to the operations floor now," he told the gate team. "But first, thank you. You stayed professional under pressure. I'm grateful." Carver's eyes welled by a tiny degree, then steadied. "Thank you for seeing us," she said. "We want to do right." The plane lifted. In row 12, Zuri squeezed Amara's hand during takeoff. "My stomach feels floaty," she said. "That's the fun part," Amara answered, voice smiling. When the seatbelt sign went off, flight attendant Reese came by with water and apple juice. "Hydration is magic," she said softly, setting down napkins with small blue waves printed on them. "Do you need anything else?" "Can I draw?" Zuri asked. "Always," Reese said. She handed over a tiny airline notepad and a pen. Zuri drew the plane wing and then added a small heart in the corner. Amara opened her notebook and wrote 3 short lines at the top of a page. "Stay calm. Ask for the rule. Help the helper." She liked how the words sat next to each other. They looked like friends. A quiet hour passed in that sweet airplane way. Soft engine sound, a page turning, a whisper, a small cough, clouds moving like slow mountains. The boy in the dinosaur hoodie showed Zuri a plastic stegosaurus. "He's brave," he said. "He has plates." Zuri nodded wisely. "We have plates too," she said, tapping her chest, meaning the kind you cannot see but can feel when you stand tall. The boy did not fully understand, but he liked the idea. When the cart came by again, Reese tucked a tiny pack of cookies next to Zuri's cup without a word. The kind of kindness that doesn't make a show. She slipped a small card to Aunt Nia. If you need anything after landing, questions, rebooking anything, come to the podium. I'll radio ahead. Aunt Nia put a hand over her heart and mouthed, "Thank you." She felt the day untie another knot. Back on the ground floor of the terminal, Daniel walked briskly to a small glass-walled room near operations. Inside, a training manager named Priya was already pulling up the policy page on her laptop. "I got your email," she said. "Let's fix the wording now." The head of operations, a calm woman named Elena, joined with a headset around her neck. "We can update the internal note setting before lunch," she said. "Product can add a Verify at Gate button in the tool by next week. But today, we can issue a clear bulletin." They worked at the whiteboard, keeping their words simple. Daniel wrote the title, Family Travel, Guardian Verification, Simple Steps. Under it, Priya wrote 4 bullets in neat markers. If a child travels with a guardian, accept notarized consent, plus IDs. If parent lives or arrives at gate, verify in person with photo ID, note it. If phone on file doesn't answer in 2 minutes, escalate to in-person verification if documents present. Show the rule. Be kind. Keep it moving. Elena added 2 small boxes. Update contact info if parent present, and print family travel checklist for customers. She circled the last one. "Design can make this today," she said. Priya nodded. "I'll run a 15-minute refresher session with all gate teams on the afternoon shift," she added. "I'll use clear examples. No blame, just better." Daniel smiled. "Perfect. Also, let's make a tiny change to language we use with families. Not additional verification, which is foggy. Try, we need one more check. We can do it fast right here." Priya wrote it down. "Fast right here," she repeated. "I like that." A few desks away, a tools engineer named Jonah dialed into a quick call. "I can add a banner when a phone number is older than 6 months," he said. "Color-coded, yellow means try the call and verify at gate if present. Green means we're current." Elena gave a thumbs up. "Good. Make the banner plain words, no code terms, and put the verify at gate note in the first line of the agent flow." Within an hour, a plain language bulletin went to every station. "When a child travels with a guardian, here's the exact way to help. Accept documents, verify at gate if possible, and move forward with care. If a phone number is old or doesn't answer quickly, don't trap the family in a loop. Use the in-person path." It wasn't poetic. It was clear. That was better than poetry for a day like this. Daniel stopped by the customer care desk and asked them to add a short page to the airline's WW. The plane rolled to the gate and the door opened. Warm air slid in like a soft hand. Amara held her notebook. Zuri held the small rubber band ball. Aunt Nia checked the purse one more time out of habit, then smiled at herself for doing it. They stepped into the jet bridge and walked toward the bright terminal. The hall smelled like fresh bread from a nearby cafe and a little bit like lemon cleaner. "Breathe," Aunt Nia said, not because they needed a reminder now, but because it felt good to say a kind word at the end of a long morning. Grandma stood at the bottom of the escalator near the big arrivals sign. She wore her bright yellow sweater that made her easy to spot. Her arms were already half open. When the girls reached her, she wrapped them in a long hug that felt like a porch on a summer evening. "My travelers," she said, her voice full of joy. "Look at you. You made it." Amara felt her chest loosen. Zuri rested her cheek against Grandma's shoulder for an extra second. "We're here," Zuri said in a small, happy voice. Aunt Nia hugged Grandma next and whispered, "We're okay." They walked to the car slowly, not because of bags, but because the airport felt like a storybook and they wanted to close the last page with care. In the car, Grandma passed back a small bag of homemade cookies wrapped in wax paper. "For brave flyers," she said. Zuri took one and held it like a medal before taking a bite. "Cinnamon," she said, eyes bright. You know me. Of course, Grandma said. I know your hearts too. At home, Grandma put the kettle on. The kitchen smelled like tea leaves and toast. Sunlight lay on the table like a thin blanket. The girls sat in their usual spots as if no time had passed since last summer, knees brushing the same wooden chair legs, elbows finding the same smooth spots in the table. Amara pulled out her notebook and placed it in the center. On the top line, Grandma read the words. Stay calm. Ask for the rule. Help the helper. She touched the words with a soft finger. That is a good map, she said. You walked it well. They told Grandma the simple version of the morning. No sharp edges, no heavy words, just steps. Papers were ready. The line was long. The staff were careful. The call did not go through. Dad arrived. The path cleared. Grandma listened with both ears and her whole face, stopping only to pour tea. She did not add drama. She did not push the story to be bigger. She nodded at the right places. You kept your calm, she said. That is a strong thing to carry. Amara texted their father. Landed safe. With Grandma now. He sent back a photo he had just taken with the gate team. In the photo, the agent and the supervisor stood next to him holding a new light, blue paper that said, Family Travel Checklist. They were all smiling the kind of smile you make after you move a sofa together and it finally fits through the door. Amara showed Grandma. Oh, that is good, Grandma said. Everyone learned something and kept their dignity. In the afternoon, Grandma took the girls to the small park near her house. The sky was friendly. The swings creaked a little in a kind way. Zuri made up a quiet game where she tossed the rubber band ball and tried to catch it in the same hand. Every time she caught it, she whispered, Yes. Amara wrote a short note on the back of one of her notebook pages. Dear future me, you can stay calm and still ask for what is right. She folded the note and slid it between two pages, like a secret promise. Back at the airline, the new bulletin went live across all gates. Priya held a 15-minute refresher in a staff room with a clean whiteboard and a bowl of mints on the table. She used clear examples. She held up the light blue family travel checklist and said, This is what families need to see. This is what we will say. She wrote a short sentence on the board. We can do the last check fast right here. She underlined fast and right here. Staff nodded. Carver listened in the front row and asked two helpful questions. Gomez added a small tip about the radio. The supervisor spoke once just to say, Thank you for your care. Later that same day, at a different gate in another city, a family arrived with the same setup. Aunt, 2 kids, notarized letter, clear pouch with documents. The agent, who had read the bulletin an hour earlier, smiled and said, We'll do one last check fast right here. She looked at the letter, matched the names, checked the IDs, and typed a clean note. Guardian verified at gate with photo. ID. Letter present. The process took 3 minutes and felt like water flowing in a good channel. The aunt relaxed. The children stepped onto the plane with the kind of joy that comes when a door opens at the first knock. The agent felt proud, in a quiet way, and sent a message to her manager. New steps worked. Thank you for making it clear. 2 days later, a small update appeared on the airline's website. Traveling with kids, what to bring and what we'll do. It was written in simple words. It had a friendly tone and short lines. The page showed the same light blue checklist. It said, bring a notarized consent letter if a child travels with a guardian. Bring IDs. If a parent can meet at the gate, we can verify in person. We will follow the same steps every time. Families shared the link in group chats. A teacher printed the page for a school trip folder. Clarity spread like a soft light that does not blind but helps you see the floor. In the first week after the changes, the internal numbers looked better in a way that people could feel. Fewer long pauses at gates, fewer confused faces, more please. And thank you said with calm voices. Daniel read a short report that said in plain language, boarding delays linked to guardian verification decreased. He did not make a speech about it. He wrote one line to the team. Thank you for turning care into a clear path. On Saturday, Daniel took Amara and Zuri to a youth center where he had promised to speak to a small group about travel, fairness, and voice. The room smelled like books and new markers. Kids sat on folding chairs, feet swinging. Daniel did not wear a suit. He wore the same blue shirt he had worn at the gate, sleeves rolled. He told the story in simple steps, just like the girls had told Grandma. He focused on the choices. Keep calm, ask for the rule, fix the path for the next person. He said, you do not need a big title to make a moment better. You need a clear head, a kind voice, and a good question. One boy raised his hand. What? If they don't listen? He asked. Daniel nodded. Sometimes people are busy or unsure, he said. If they do not listen, try again with simple words. Ask for the rule. Ask who can help. If you still don't get help, write it down and tell someone who can fix the system, not just the moment. Amara looked around the room and saw faces thinking. Zuri squeezed the rubber band ball and then handed it to a little girl near her. For your next hard thing, she said. The girl rolled it between her hands and smiled like she had been given a small, bright star. Back at the original airport, Carver and Gomez led a short huddle for the morning crew. They did not pretend. Nothing had happened. They did not make it a heavy story either. We learned, Carver said. We have a clear map now. If you're unsure, ask. If a family is waiting, tell them what you're doing and how long it will take in plain words. She held up the light blue page. And show this. A new agent who had been nervous the week before took a breath and said, this makes it easier. The supervisor nodded with real relief. The team walked out to the gate with a little more light in their steps. At Grandma's house, the girls helped peel oranges for a salad. The table was a mess in a sweet way. Peels in a bowl, juice on fingers, laughter slipping into the gaps between words. Grandma told a story about the time she missed a train and met a kind stranger who showed her a shortcut. It was not the day I planned, she said, but it was the day I got, and it gave me a new friend. Some days do that. The girls listened with their eyes as well as their ears. The kitchen clock ticked like a quiet drum. That evening, they took a walk around the block. The sky turned pink at the edges. A neighbor waved from a porch. A small dog flicked its ears and decided everyone was friendly. Do you think the staff at the gate will remember us? Zuri asked. Maybe not us, Amara said, but maybe they will remember the steps. She smiled a little. That is even better. Aunt Nia nodded. The best change is the kind that stays when you are not in the room, she said. Later, when the house was quiet and the dishes were done, Amara taped the small light blue family travel checklist that Daniel had sent them onto the inside cover of her notebook. She wrote below it, a good rule is like a good path. Anyone can walk on it. Zuri slipped the rubber band ball under her pillow. It keeps good shape, she whispered, like a secret compliment to the world. On Sunday afternoon, Daniel drove over to Grandma's for lunch. He brought a small framed photo, the one at the gate, with the girls on one side and him on the other, everyone standing in a line that looked more like a family than a company. He set the frame on Grandma's shelf next to a jar of buttons, a seashell and a small plant with round leaves. For the house museum, he joked. Grandma laughed. Every shelf tells a story, she said. This one tells 3, love, patience, and a new checklist. They ate chicken soup and told small jokes that did not need to be big to be funny. Daniel asked the girls what they liked best about the trip so far. The first hug, Zuri said. Getting the window seat, Amara said. The cookies, Aunt Nia said, and Grandma grinned. Daniel lifted his glass of water. To clear paths, he said. They tapped cups and smiled. Before he left, Daniel knelt of you for, oh,